This is Machetti 411 TV. And yes, you are watching Cook With Me. And this is brought to you by Doing It Big 501. I'm going to show you guys how to cook really good food at a really low cost. Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in. This is your girl Machetti, and you're watching Cook With Me. In today's menu, we'll have white cheese, macaroni and cheese, sweet corn, rustic baked chicken, and buttery croissants. Let's get to it. Our rustic baked chicken list. We'll need 1 green bell pepper, 1 whole onion, 2 whole chickens cut up, 3 tablespoons butter, and vegetable oil. And for our season rub, you're going to need 1.5 tablespoons of garlic powder, Greek seasoning, accent, black pepper, and complete seasoning. For the seasoning rub for the chicken, I'm just going to remove all of my lids for just the time being, because we're going to measure out 1.5 tablespoons of each seasoning. And I've made 5 limits. I try to do 5 seasonings in my entree. And this is the seasoning blend I'm going to use. I'm going to use a 1.5 tablespoons garlic powder. And you just want to put it in just like that. We're going to do 1.5 tablespoons of Badia complete seasoning. Again, you just want to put it in a little sparingly. If you like a lot, put more. If you like less, put less. Now we're using accent. And I love accent, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 tablespoons because accent really is good. And then I'm going to do 1.5 tablespoons pepper. This is black pepper. If you like white pepper, use white pepper. And you want to make sure you get a really good mix on your seasoning. We're getting ready to have prep time. Yes, we're getting ready to prep our whole onion and our whole bell pepper. And I'm just going to cut the core out of the onion. And I'm going to cut my onion down in chunks. I want to keep it chunky. I want to make sure that when I put it over the chicken, it still gives it great flavor. And we can do this while they're really in good size. We're going to cut it up in good chunks. Getting ready to prep that bell pepper. I'm going to show you guys how to de-seed the bell pepper and cut it into strips. I've washed it really good. I'm just going to take the top off of it. And once I get it off, I'm going to take that whole seed packet out. I'm going to remove that. And once I remove it, I'm going to wash it entirely. Make sure you get all the seeds that's left in the bottom. Just get those out just by rinsing it. I'm going to throw it away in my little makeshift garbage bag there. I've rinsed it out completely. And I'm just going to cut it in half. Once you cut it in half, you're just going to do about 4 strips on each side. And that'll give you some really good pieces, because we're still going to break it up over the chicken. We're just pressing it down so it can be easier to handle. And bell pepper is not really easy to cut, and so that's why a lot of dishes that I use bell pepper for, I'll either do a rustic cut or I'll put it in my chopper and give it a good chop. So right now I'm getting ready to oil my pan. This is a pretty good size Pyrex. We're going to put the chicken inside of it, but first we're going to oil the whole bottom and make sure you get it real good. And it's going to give good flavor to your chicken, and it's going to keep it from sticking. So I've got it oiled, and I'm just going to put my chicken in it. And I've already added my season rub. I tossed it up real good and coated it real nice. So here we have the pan chicken, and I'm just going to break the onion and bell pepper over it. And if you'd like to add other things, just be creative. Add some more stuff to it. Whole kernel corn prep list. We're getting ready to do that. And I'm going to use 1 to 2 cans of sweet corn. 1 to 2 tablespoons of Blue Bonnet butter. and I'm gonna add that to a saucepan. Make sure you put it on a medium low. Make sure you don't put it too high because you'll burn your corn. And I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of the whole margarine in there. I'm gonna put 2 whole tablespoons of white sugar. If you don't like sugar, don't add it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put my roasted garlic pepper in, and I'm also gonna use black pepper, as much or as little as you like. Give it a good stir, put a top on it, and just put it down low. Now we're gonna do this white mac and cheese thing, and its prep list goes like this. 2 boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese, 2 to 4 tablespoons of the Blue Bonnet, and you're gonna do 2 whole cups of whole milk. And this is the Lar Havagues Mexican dipping cheese, and this comes in a block. You'll just need 1. The seasonings are real simple. I've got sea salt, black pepper, and garlic powder. And those cheese packets, you can toss them, or if you would like to save money, you can save them for the kiddos to put on the microwave popcorn. It's really good. I'm gonna chop the cheese block into 4s, and then I'm gonna each side chop it into 4s again. It's gonna give me 8 pieces, and I'm gonna put it in a saucepan that I've already added about 2 tablespoons of butter to. It's gonna melt, but I'm gonna put it to the side, and we're gonna handle that later. I've got my water boiling, and that's gonna be for the mac and cheese. Okay, so now I'm putting the cheese into the saucepan after the butter has melted. I'm gonna set it off to the side, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start my macaroni and cheese noodles, and we're gonna put it on high. We're gonna make sure that we stir it really good, make sure those noodles don't stick, and then we're gonna just let it boil for about 10 minutes. And I kind of go in a little bit to make sure that the noodles aren't sticking just by stirring. My noodles are ready. They're plump. They look really nice. We're gonna drain them. Drain them real good and set it to the side, because right now we're gonna do this cheese, and we're gonna melt it down in a small saucepan. We've already prepped it. We're gonna melt it down on a low because it melts at a slow pace and you don't want to burn it. Once you get it to a good consistency, you can raise your heat, but for right now, just kind of pace it. It takes a little while, but it tastes so good. And I just break down the blocks as I go, and I raise my heat. I just make sure that I watch it and that I'm, constant with stirring and helping it to melt. It's messy, but it's good. And you're not gonna want to use the Velveeta that box cheese again. You're gonna always want to do it this way. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start on my milk, and I'm adding a 1/4 cup at a time, but I'll probably do this about 7 or 8 times, which equals 2 cups of milk. So if you want to just go ahead and do a whole cup, but just make sure you put a little bit at a time, because you want to get your cheese at a good consistency, adding as you go. Now I've got my drained noodles, and I'm just breaking them up. I'm getting ready to pour that good cheese on. I've got my sea salt, the black pepper, and the garlic powder, and they're ready to go. I pour it on top, and you can either add your seasoning to this now, or you can wait until you have already, kind of distributed the cheese in. I do it this way to get an even distribution of seasoning and cheese. Just right, and now we're stirring the mac and cheese and getting a good distribution of cheese and seasoning, and we're gonna go ahead and top it with Kraft. I did like a cheddar, sharp cheddar, and Monterey Jack cheese. It just depends on what you like. But I'm gonna spread it along the whole entire top of the macaroni and cheese, and after that I'm gonna cut my eye off because I don't want my mac and cheese to burn or get hard and stiff. So I'm just gonna first I'm gonna pour a little bit more milk on it, make sure that it's moist and it does have a good consistency. And then I'm gonna stir, and then I'll top and turn off the eye. Make sure you turn it off. You can even take your macaroni and cheese off the eye. Make sure it doesn't cook any longer. You just want the steam from it to continue to kind of meld the cheeses together. So after we do that, we're done. We have those buttery croissants. Remember those? I just cut them in half, and I will either wrap them in paper towel and microwave, or you can put those in the oven. They made great toast. And this is it plated. The rustic baked chicken is really brown. It looks nice. The mac and cheese is so delicious. You're going to love it. And the corn is just the accent. I've got it in a bowl, and I love to pour it on top of the mac and cheese. It's so good together. And I get my ideas from, give it a moment. A lot of my ideas are just simple, basic ideas. It's something that you can use in an everyday cooking environment. But if you have any suggestions, send them to Machetti411TV@gmail.com.